We're standing today in the middle of the Brule-St. Croix Legacy Forest, which is a conserved property formerly owned by Wausau Paper Company. Now it's owned by the Lime Timber Company in partnership with the Conservation Fund. These habitats are extraordinarily interesting in that they need fire and disturbance in order to propagate. So it's not like a forest that sits there and grows and grows and grows. It needs to recycle and to regenerate.
I run a harvester, it's called. It cuts the trees down, limbs it, and cuts it up in specified lengths. It's kind of hard to explain, but I had one guy ride with me. He's like, oh, this is like a spaceship. All these buttons in front of me are programmed, each program for a different length. And I just, I don't know, my fingers figure out where to go and hit the right button.
So forestry on this landscape really helps mimic what has happened historically, where, as in these barrens, fire was a huge part of the regime here. Large expanses of timberland would just be regenerated over time by fire.
If there's not enough young trees to reforest it, then we have to go through and disc trench everything and then plant young seedlings. Usually, well, last year was roughly about 1 million trees that we planted.
It's important to keep the integrity of our private working forest land base for jobs, but also the environmental protection and recreation that comes about from these lands.
I love to bow hunt, rifle hunt out on the property. I mean, it's great recreational use for everyone.
The state of Wisconsin is so fortunate to have the Knowles-Nelson State Stewardship Program, which provides significant funding for land conservation at the community level and at the state level. If it wasn't for Gathering Waters, we would not likely have this funding source going into the future, because they provide the information to decision makers and communities across the state about the value of land conservation. The existence of the conservation easement on this particular piece of property means that the property will be supporting jobs into perpetuity.
My grandpa started back in 1950 something, I believe, and then he worked, and he's still working today. He's 81 years old, he still works with me every day.
Essentially, if this was private land, I mean, I would be out of a job basically. You know, I'd probably have to move, you know, try to find a job somewhere else if the conservation easement wasn't in place.
When this easement was placed on the property, to me it meant a lot, in that our kids have that gift that this will be preserved and enjoyed just as I am today.